All right, so Kylo crushes the wayfinder that Rey had just found,
Mhm.
and they end up yeah, like it's made out of bricks of Legos or something. and and they end up doing battle. What do you think of that lightsaber duel?
I liked it. I liked all the lightsaber duels. That was probably like one of the best things about the movie.
Yeah, yeah, those scenes are pretty cool. When Kylo, well, we'll get to it. Um, so okay, the Force healing. So Kylo wins this duel, and for some reason, Leia reaches out to Kylo with the Force, and it kills her for no reason, but whatever. Yeah, whenever Luke and Leia tries to Force Skype, dead. But
And they don't even do it as well. Well, Luke like makes like a clone of himself, and he's
yeah,
actually there. Leia just has a voice far away, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
they strand their efforts for being old.
Whenever they do it, done. They're toast. But yeah, yeah. Kylo and Ray, no problem, no problem. But so Leia gets a hold of Ben and stops him because Ben or Kylo at this point, Kylo won that fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He beat Ray, which I thought was cool. I liked that. And then, but Leia distracts him, and Ray runs him through with the lightsaber, which makes you like I don't understand why she did that, just to turn around and heal him. But what did you think about the Force healing?
Well, what do you mean? Because force healing is a thing, but how fast it was crazy, and it wasn't
Yeah,
even in a minor spot. He got freaking, I guess what, like through the freaking lungs or something. It looked like she
yeah,
went up a little bit too. I'm not for sure, but that that's pretty instantaneous. Like she should be Doctor Ray, Doctor Ray House or something.
it
She
seemed
should be
like
a medic with that power.
right, right, right. She should be on a hospital ship. What are you doing being a Jedi girl? You healing. You should be healing everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, you're right. Force healing is a thing, and for the people who've read the books, um, they already knew that, and well before Baby Yoda did it. I think that's why they had Baby Yoda do it too, to kind of bring people into that knowledge. Okay, this is a thing, but
Oh yeah,
as a
maybe.
yeah, people who've read the books, they already know. They already know it's a thing, and it's exactly like you said. It's not. It's first of all, it's a you have to have an aptitude for it. Not every Jedi can do it, and it takes some training, and you have to be able to. It takes a long time to heal somebody, and I'm not entirely sure about what I'm about to say next, but if someone has like say a mortal wound, I'm not sure that the Force healer could heal that, but I may be wrong about that. But it's
Well,
not.
The Jedi, they could use it on themselves, right? From what I know, they had to like learn where the pain is, and they could use force healing on themselves.
Yes, but to heal someone else to that degree, you have to have an
Oh no, yeah,
aptitude.
I know.
I think Qui-Gon, when he was fighting Darth Maul, he used that technique to kind of refresh himself in Episode One.
Right?
You remember at the end he sat down cross-legged and was kind of
Yeah, I remember.
meditating. I think he was refreshing or healing himself. I guess you could say that. So it's something that Jedi can do, but if you're going to be a healer, right? Quotes. It's a skill. You have to have an aptitude for it, and it takes training to get good
Mm-hmm.
at it or to be good at
Yeah.
it. It didn't surprise me at all when Baby Yoda did it. I was like, yeah, Jedi can do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a thing. But it's not instantaneous like Rey did with that giant snake and with Kylo.
Yeah.
All right, I guess the next our next plot hole or whatever you want to call it, a plot convenience would be that the Rey steals Kylo's ship, goes all the way back to Octu, torches the ship. I mean, and the fire's so hot it wrecks it. It melts, the armor plating off this thing. It's a wreck. And she tosses the lightsaber, Luke catches it as a Force ghost, and Rey tells him she doesn't want to be a Jedi. She's too afraid of her dark side, and Luke says, "No, don't worry about it. I made a mistake. Don't do what I did." Da da da. Being the helpful, being the Luke that we've come to know, basically. And although he doesn't get much time to do it, but that's the Luke that we know, not that trash we saw in the previous film. And he raises up his own X-wing for her, and that's when Rey goes into the wreck and pulls out a perfectly good Wayfinder that didn't get destroyed in the fire somehow, right? Kylo can crush
because it wasn't a hand. That's why.
but no, a fire hot enough to melt metal, nah, won't do the trick. Major convenience. So she and this to me, I don't know, others could comment on that, but this to me is the reason why the Wayfinders were useless, as far as them needing to be a thing. She uses the Wayfinder to tell everybody, right, the Resistance, how to get to Exegol, which subsequently leads up to the ragtag armada that they ended up putting together towards the end there too, and they're also able to get to Exegol. So why are we using these Wayfinders? I just don't get it. Like, you can't put these coordinates into a nav computer, like I said earlier. It just seems like way too convenient that they have to go chase around these MacGuffins.
And one of them
And
gets destroyed right when you find it.
say that again?
One of them got destroyed like as soon as they found it.
Yeah, sure. And like they're 3/4 of the movie through, and the whole reason why they were out on their mission, Rey's first mission, is to find this thing. But let's see. Yeah, so she's heading on to Exegol again by herself. Like, this is a Sith planet, and there's this massive armada, and she's gonna get down to the surface without even being harassed by anybody. I don't understand that either. I mean, okay, so Palpatine wants, if Palpatine wants her dead, she should have had to have fought her way through that whole armada. But she gets down there, and oh no, we don't want you dead. No, you're supposed to kill me. So in this really odd ritual, you're supposed to kill me so I can inhabit you, and all the Sith can inhabit you, and you can take the throne. That was the plan. But earlier I wanted you dead, Kylo, kill her. But no. The real plan is what is going on with this movie? What's going on?
Like it's oh my goodness. I mean, at least Kylo didn't want to kill her. This whole time he wanted to be her teacher.
Sure, and maybe a little bit more than that.
Apparently.
there was definitely some I don't know if I want
Interest.
to, yeah, some a love interest between the two, between both of them. They both kind of wanted it, but it's like I don't know, maybe like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing. One's a Montague and the other's well, I can't recall the names now. Montague and it doesn't
I
matter.
don't know. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
remember. But Romeo and Juliet, we get you.
yeah, yeah. Uh, they're well. Anyway, the families are on opposite sides here. We got dark side and light side. But regardless, Ray gets down there, and the Emperor. Um, did you like that? I did not like. I didn't like the fact that they brought the Emperor back. Thought that was ridiculous.
No, I mean, like I said, I wanted to see him come back or him make his return for everyone. Not everyone knows he's back now because Snoke is dead.
Yeah, yeah. It seemed convoluted, very convoluted. Like they didn't have a plan. So now we got to scramble and figure out how to make this story work. We murdered the big bad in the last movie, so now we got to come up with another one. And then Snoke was Palpatine's lackey this whole time. We saw a bunch of clone tanks full of Snoke.
Yeah, that was cool. That was interesting.
That was weird though. Like, why would you clone someone with all those facial disfigurations? I don't think that's how cloning works. Like, if you're gonna get some genetic material from somebody and clone them, you're gonna end up with uh, like a whole being. You're not gonna be able to clone in uh, injuries, right? I don't think so.
Unless they cloned him like that, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. They
in,
just he was just his lackey just because the
yeah,
Palpatine's
yeah.
back.
Injuries aren't genetic, so I don't. Whatever. It's odd. It was just weird to me. Um. All right. I guess this whole scene is very very peculiar because what we have Palpatine wanting Rey to complete this really odd ritual, and I don't understand at all why um, two different people can now harbor all either all dead Jedi or all dead Sith. That made zero sense to me at all. Like I can't even wrap my head around that. Like, okay, yeah, you're Palpatine and she's Rey, right? But you also have um, the undead spirits of Jedi and Sith within you too. How's that work out? I don't know. I don't know. It's bizarre, very bizarre. Again, we're talking about force powers or aspects of the force that weren't previously expounded upon in any other medium, and just showing up in this movie as a whatever. I don't even know what is that. What is that? What's going on?
I don't know.
So Palpatine wants her to complete this ritual, and Kylo shows up somehow. I don't even know how. Uh, he got his ship stolen, so how he got off of Endor, I have no idea. But he shows back up. Not only did he get off Endor, but he was able to make his way back to Exegol without the Wayfinder.
He has a good memory, I guess.
I guess. Okay. Okay.
He has to get there somehow, and he destroyed the other one.
Yeah. So he got there, and what a waste this was. The Nysa Ren, what a complete waste. They didn't do anything.
They lost to Kylo. That's something.
They did what?
They lost to Kylo. That's something.
Yeah,
Or Ben.
yeah. Didn't say anything. Didn't do anything. Oh, they captured Chewbacca. Whoop-de-doo. What a waste. What a complete waste. Okay, you can take out a whole Jedi temple full of burgeoning Jedi, but you can't do anything significant for the rest of the time. Waste. What a waste. I would have liked to have seen more of them and their dynamic with Kylo and all that. I would have liked to get a little bit more background, but whatever. Yeah, so Kylo confronts them, and for some reason he can't use the Force to utterly just wreck them. No, Rey's got to give him a lightsaber through Skype, Force Skype.
Yeah, we're taking more things through Skype again.
But you know what? That whole scene was cool. When Kylo got the lightsaber, man, that gave me the chills. It was cool to watch because he was doing some badass stuff with it. I enjoyed that. So props for that. So Kylo defeats the Knights of Ren, makes his way into the throne room, and here's another bizarre Force power that I can't even think of anything equivalent to. Yeah, I can't even. Well, what I'm talking about is he figures out that they have some really stupendous connection, and that he can draw power and energy and regenerative energy, right, from the two of them. So what and it's not really explained. He sucks their life force out. Is that what it seemed like to you?
Yeah, sucking their life force or sucking their energy.
Yeah, we don't know. What was that? We have no idea. Okay, so if he's in either case, if it was life force or energy, you would think that they wouldn't have any more reserve to fight this guy. But he sucks out their energy, regenerates his body so he can get off the life support machine, but he doesn't regenerate to the point where he's without the jacked up face, right? He's still got the emperor face, right? And then what occurs after that?
Well, is this with the ragtag fleet defeating the trained armada? Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Okay. He tosses Ben down a cliff, an inexplicable cliff. Why is there a cliff in the middle of your arena? But whatever. Tosses him down that thing, and he opens up the ceiling. Right, the ceiling opens up, and he fries the whole resistance fleet, with his force lightning. And I thought that was bizarre. Like, why didn't you do that in Return of the Jedi? It's like if you could take out a fleet of ships, just you. I mean, why didn't you do that? What are you waiting for? You want your own men to die? I mean, I guess he's that evil. He doesn't care about his own men's lives, but whatever. And I'm not sure if the ragtag armada shows up before or after that fact.
Well, we can still talk about it though, because we can't remember exactly in per scene. Yeah. Although we've done pretty well.
The problem, this is the second largest.
That's had to come before, because Lando and them, I think, was getting destroyed because Poe lost all his crew basically, and then he's like, "Oh man, what am I gonna do?" And then Lando's like, he pulls a Gandalf on look to the second light on midday or something.
Yeah. Well, I guess we need to backtrack a little bit, right? The resistance is there to take out this navigational beacon. The Sith fleet cannot, they can't for whatever reason can't leave Exegol without being shown the way. And then what the I'm going to call them the First Order. I think they're supposed to be called the Last Order now, but I'm just going to call them the First Order. The First Order, they're like, oh well, we'll just switch the beacon to the ship. Okay, so now the beacon's the ship, and the resistance figures it out. Okay, now we got to go to the ship, and that's when we get that ridiculous scene with the space horses riding on the hull of a ship. Really, I mean, the Ewok scene, and this is what they were going for. They were going for like an Ewok type thing, right? You got low tech against high tech, and I think that's what they were going for. But it just didn't seem like it worked for me, because it was in Return of the Jedi, the Ewok scenes were drawn out, right? And we saw them getting their little furry butts kicked for a little while there, until they started, using these log traps and all these other kinds of things. And that worked. That worked for that movie. But this didn't seem like it worked. It just seemed like, and then wasn't one of the horse riders, she had a bow and arrow, for goodness sakes. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm watching. But yeah, so,
You're watching a lot of movies put into one, I guess. We got The Mummy,
yeah,
Lord of the Rings.
they're just doing too much, man. Too much with this. But anyway, they figure out that the ship's the beacon now, so they got to take the ship out so the whole fleet can't leave. But if that ship can be the beacon, why couldn't another ship be the beacon? Or another?
Because the horses were already on the one. They can't play musical beacon because the horses were already on this one. That would defeat the resistance.
Yeah, the horses can't jump that far.
Or maybe they could. They would use the force to jump that far.
Yeah. Or some magical rainbows can come out and they can ride the rainbow over and dumbass shit. Oh, sorry, I cussed.
That's okay. That's funny.
Yeah, ridiculous. It just didn't work. Ewoks worked fine, but it just didn't seem like it fit. But anyway, now for the second plot convenience, I think is probably the second worst plot convenience next to that Sith dagger. It's the ragtag armada that shows up to fight the First Order. Now, anybody who knows anything about military maneuvers is what you understand is if you have a fleet that size, you have to train together. It's there's no other way. You have to train together, otherwise you're going to get taken apart easy. Because and it doesn't even matter how good each particular crew is of each ship, because if they don't train together, they don't know each other's maneuvers, they don't know each other's thoughts and patterns and all that kinds of stuff. If you don't know these things in the heat of battle, you're gonna die. Mm-hmm. You're gonna get taken apart. So there's no reason why an armada, even of that size, should have beaten the First Order, who's presumably trained together for the last 40 years or so. It's a major plot to me. They shouldn't have won that battle. They should have gotten, like I said, taken apart like paper mache. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It just looked great. Man, it looked great. The visual was really cool. Like, okay, we got this massive battle between these two forces, and it looked really cool. But the actual logistics, meh, they should have lost. Lost bad. Like getting slaughtered. And that's the reality of that. And that's why it didn't work. I mean, it looked great, but it didn't work for me at all. It's just like, this is so dumb. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Even within the context of the fiction, it's unbelievable. It's like, if you look at all the other battles in Star Wars, they've always been between two sets of fleets or individuals that have trained together and worked together.
Yeah.
If you look at the Return of the Jedi, for the most part, they've all worked together, or at the very least, they know each other's capabilities. Like they put Lando in charge of
the Falcon.
Yeah, he was in charge of the small fighters, and now an argument could be made that he never trained with all these other fighters, but at least he understood the capabilities. This, like, we don't know any of these people. Like in all those other ships, they could be, freighter pilots for all we know, ferrying people around, like never been in a battle their whole life. It's just logistically. I mean, if you scale it down a little bit, it's a little bit easier to control what you have. But at that scale, forget it. If you haven't trained together, toast, you're done. So to me, that's the biggest, the largest, one of the largest, aside from the Sith dagger. It's the largest plot convenience. They happen to win just because they're the good guys. Get out of here. Nonsense.
Yeah. So we're back at the Rey or Palpatine. He's already stopped up the life force.
Yeah.
And he's lightning in their hands, which he didn't during Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. So Kylo's down the pit. She's got to face Palpatine alone after she's had her life force drained or whatever that was. And he fires lightning right at her, and she deflects it with a lightsaber. Now, if you can torch a whole fleet of ships, surely you could take out one lightsaber.
Or if the lightsaber really is good at deflecting, aim at their feet.
So I mean, something like do something like use the force to grab the lightsaber away and then fry them. Something. Come on, like this is ridiculous. Okay, so one lightsaber can deflect force lightning. Now, previously in previous films, Mace Windu did the same thing. Now, according to Return of the Jedi, I'll say this real quick. According to Return of the Jedi, you can use the Force to either absorb Sith lightning or deflect it. Now, we saw Yoda; he was able to absorb it, but you could also use the Force to deflect it. Now, that's according to the book. Luke, according to the book, he was able to deflect the Emperor's Force lightning at first, but then he got overcome by it. So you can use the Force to do that. And I'm going to presume that that's what Mace Windu did and what Rey did here. She used the Force along with the lightsaber to deflect the Force lightning. But nothing was happening until she got the second lightsaber. And then you saw you saw the Emperor's face. He's like, oh, she's got two lightsabers now. Oh, and then he kills himself with the Force light. He kills himself with it. Like, dude, you could stop shooting the Force lightning if you want. That's on you, buddy. Now, previously, he didn't stop doing it. Like in the case of his fight with Windu and Anakin was present, he allowed himself to get all fried up like that just to provoke Anakin to action for the dark.
Yeah.
So there was a purpose to it. And then the second time when Vader lifted him up in the air and he was still, shooting the lightning, the plausible explanation for that is he wanted to torch Vader to get him to put him down. So we have two good explanations why he wouldn't stop the lightning. The other two times we saw him kind of torching himself, but in this case, there was no reason whatsoever to keep doing it.
Yeah,
it was just convenient for the plot. I mean, the way he died was really cool looking. I'll give him that. That was tight. Like like Indiana Jones peeling the face off, Temple of Doom, like, or not Temple of Doom, Raiders of the Lost Ark style, melted the face off and exploded the throne. And then for whatever reason, that the explosion also killed all the acolytes that were sitting in the. There was like a raised. This was like a Colosseum type thing, right? Where all his like hundreds of thousands of acolytes were sitting, kind of chanting, but they all died, all of them. At least that was the impression I got. It was just bizarre.
Yeah, it did.
And then I guess, did you want to talk about the resurrection there at the end? Because that seemed there's a lot to that. It was a lot more than just the scene, because we're talking about a possible destruction of storyline with that with Kyle resurrecting Ray.
Yeah, if you want to talk about that really quick, if you feel that you need to.
Okay, so we have Kylo. Okay. Ray dies deflecting this force lightning. For some reason, she died, and I guess we could say she was so depleted from the Emperor's sucking her life force that, well, she was strong enough to defeat him, but not strong enough to stay alive afterwards. Really weird. But she dies doing it, which would have been really cool if they just kept her dead. Like, okay, the heroes sacrificed themselves for the greater good. That's a universal theme throughout a lot of different mythologies and stories. That would have been really cool. But Kylo somehow crawls back up out of that crevice he got tossed into and was able to bring Rey back to life, presumably using the Force. Now, the whole reason why Anakin turned to the dark side was to do just that, right? Prevent death. That was his whole like shtick. And we learn right after Anakin turns to the dark side, we learned that Palpatine didn't know how to save people from death. He just basically tricked Anakin into turning so that they could figure it out together. But it was a trick, right? Palpatine didn't know. Anakin didn't know. And we were given no indication by anybody anywhere that Palpatine did figure that out. Now, I guess an argument could be made that he eventually did figure it out, and that's how he survived the fall down the pit. But I think that's a garbage explanation. Like, how do you survive something like that? I don't know. How'd you survive, and how'd you get off the Death Star so quick? I don't know. But anyway, we're given no indication that anybody learned this skill, and yet Kylo knows how to do it, and it didn't take him any time at all to do it. I don't know. It
doesn't take anyone any time at all for anything.
Well, it's like I said, the Force is something. It's been robbed of its mystery and its spiritualism, and now it's just something ordinary. And everybody and their grandmother's got it now.
Didn't Han Solo say in Force Awakens that's not how the Force works?
Yeah.
They might as well have Finn done it. He was using it correctly, apparently, to these movies.
Unbelievable. All this is just so unbelievable. It's like, I don't know. I've heard people that I respect review this movie and say that they liked it and they gave their reasons, and I get it. I understand why they liked the movie, because it did try to kind of walk back a lot of the things that occurred in The Last Jedi. And it did try to do a lot of fan service. I get that. I saw a lot of that in this film. It's just they either should have made two full-length films out of this movie, or possibly made it a 3-hour film to kind of stretch some of these things out that was occurring, so we could have some emotional resonance, like I was talking about earlier, with a few of the scenes, especially like the death of Chewie. They could have done that much better. As far as Rey's character is concerned, right? They could, like, I'm guessing that if I were her and I inadvertently killed one of my friends, I would want to kind of, step back a little bit and maybe even do what she did. She wanted to give up, but well before that, like I would be really standoffish about using my force powers, like especially if I can just blast out Sith lightning at a moment's notice without me even trying. I'd really want to kind of, and I'd be sad. I'd be really sad. Like they should have really tried to capitalize on that aspect of it, of her maybe feeling horrible about killing one of her friends and da 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 da. But yeah, so Kylo sacrifices himself to save Rey.
She gives him the kiss of death to thank him.
She gives him the kiss of death. Well, we could see this is like a sleeping beauty motif, except the Prince Philip doesn't die. But I get the symbolism. The symbolism was good. I like the symbolism. But what you did there is you killed off the last surviving Skywalker. And your film is called The Rise of Skywalker.
Not the change of a last name, which we'll get to.
Yeah. And then, of course, I'm not sure if the last scene of this movie is a plot inconvenience. I don't think it is at all. It's just, it seemed like it was the final curb stomp of the Skywalker legacy. At least that's what it felt like to me. I think there was, I saw a commenter that talked about this scene, and he had a different take on it. What he said was that it shows that anybody could create themselves however they want to be, or something along those lines. And there's some truth to that.
Yeah,
you do have a lot of leeway on how you present yourself to people and how you can create your own life through your thoughts and self-control and responsibility and those kinds of things. But this scene fell flat for me because what's the matter with keeping your name? What's wrong with that? Especially if you can redeem it. If there's some kind of stain on your name and you have the capability of redeeming it, what's the matter with keeping your own name? So Rey goes to Tatooine. She buries Anakin's lightsaber and Leia's lightsaber in the sand near the Lars's homestead.
Anakin hates him.
Yeah, but you know what? Luke didn't like it there either. He couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah, that's true. The whole movie, basically. Yeah. Or actually, yeah. He was always kind of impatient.
Yeah, he wanted out. Anakin hated it. Luke hated it. Leia was a slave there of a gangster. Why would you bury the lightsabers there? It's because it's where everything started. Where everything started, and it's more symbolic than it is practical. That's the reason.
Okay. So Ray buries the lightsabers, and then somebody shows up and you're like, "Oh, I haven't seen anybody here for ages. What's your name, Ray? What's your last name, Skywalker?" Oh, no, you didn't, movie. No, you didn't. You're a Palpatine, not a Skywalker. So this movie probably should have been called Rise of Palpatine.
Yeah.
But to me, that was just the final insult in a very terrible trilogy. Although The Force Awakens, I still like that movie, and I think that it set up great potential, like the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker. These could have been some really cool movies, but we can thank Rian Johnson and whoever wrote that film for the trash we ended up with. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I was really disappointed with this film, even more so than I was with The Last Jedi. and it's too bad too, because there were a lot of elements a lot of ideas and elements they come up with that I thought could have been really interesting if they had treated the story better, come up with a better script. And like I said, I had no problem at all with the acting. I thought the acting was good. Even JJ's direction wasn't too bad. The fault lies with the script and the direction that the previous film took it in. When you're more concerned with political messaging and the Force is female, right? When you're more concerned with that kind of stuff than you are with making good films, this is what you end up with, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting good at writing franchises. I'll tell you that. These Hollywood types, they're getting good at ruining franchises.
Well, we got to get going. So thanks for joining us, Kai, on this episode today.
Absolutely, it was a lot of fun.
It was interesting. It was nice to have someone else's input, not just in comments.
Sure. Yeah, we should do this again.
All right, man. Well, we'll see what we have later. All right. Take care, guys, and take care, Kai.
You do as well.
Real quick, this is a picture I got after my last video, before I posted the second episode to it. So this is hilarious, and this is about the last episode.